Once upon a time, there lived a young Wojak named James who had great aspirations of becoming a famous athlete. He dreamed of having more money than he knew what to do with. He also dreamed of having endless bitches to stroke him off as he grew into old age, having multiple children from different women. But James was not alone in his quest for money and glory. His own sister Sarah was also ambitious and money hungry. But not only was she hungry for money, but she was also hungry for huge black cocks, and thus her journey began as soon as she turned 18. She immediately started her career as an OnlyFans models with her then boyfriend, who she later replaced at age 27, crying on TikTok that she cannot find any good men. James found himself becoming more and more desperate the more he talked to his old buddies and the stories they told him of how they became rich from cryptocurrency, social media, and then starting their own businesses. Not only was that weighing on his mind, but having to constantly see his beloved sister getting absolutely wrecked on OnlyFans by dudes twice his size was causing James to really doubt himself. Maybe this is all there is to life. Maybe he really is not destined to be a great football player, starring as the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, leading them to the Super Bowl. Perhaps his life was doomed to work a regular job with regular pay, and of course, no access to beautiful women. But then James found an old church built shortly after the Civil War, and realized that having white privilege really wasn't all that bad. He found his way inside the church building, found a small place in the pew where no one could see him, and prayed a small prayer: "God, I need a miracle. Please show me how to be successful. I don't want to be doomed." A week goes by, and at the age of 25, James finally has an epiphany. He remembered reading an article on Yahoo News about how a woman working at a Walmart store was able to save $400,000 over the course of a few years. He thought to himself, sure, it's not as much money as my sister makes. Fine, but that's a lot of money and it's plenty for me and my lifestyle. At that point, after watching some workouts by Johnny Sins on how to sculpt abs, James decided it was finally time to take action. No longer would he cry about his failed attempt at going into the NFL, no longer would he sit and drink his failed college career sorrows away. No longer would he sit there and cry himself to sleep over the fact that girls saw him as a bestie and not as a serious Friday night dick appointment. Those days were over now, and now it is time to do something about it. So James woke up early at 5 a.m., got dressed in his best suit, and went down to the local Pepsi factory, and applied for a job as a warehouse employee driving forklifts for $15 an hour. He then moved out of his apartment, and lived in his car, determined to save as much money as he could until he could afford to pay cash for everything he needed, including his own house. Weeks went by, months, and years. James, now 35 years old, had managed to save over $200,000 and had put his money into various high-yield savings accounts and real estate. Not only was he doing well financially, but he kept going to the gym and eventually reduced his body fat percentage to 15%. The only thing left now for him to do was find one woman who could love him for where he was at, and lucky for James, he found her at the local gas station and asked for her phone number as she pumped her gas. They were in bed in less than 3 days, blasting his load all over her. Over the television, he could hear the advertisements talking about houses for sale. They said, "All you need is one. All you need is one." The end.